Area is a really big concept, so we're going to try to break it down into smaller concepts for you. Before I get really big into calculation though, just a general idea of what area is. Our textbook defines it as the amount of surface covered by a polygon or circle. So literally, how much space does a square take up? Or how much space does a picture take up on your wall? The first thing I want to talk about is converting units of area. Converting is going to work the same with our multiplying and dividing and centimeters to meters. But now, instead of just being centimeters, it's centimeters squared or meters squared. So my units are squared. That's because when I'm calculating area, I have to measure 2 units. Think about when we first started doing measuring. We measured the length of something. So we measured the length of our desk. And we said that was in centimeters. Well, now, by measuring area, I have to measure the length and the width. So there's centimeters going this way and centimeters going that way. And to calculate the area of, like, our desk, it would be length times width. Well, centimeters times centimeters is centimeters squared. So my units are going to be squared. And the big part about that is, since my units are squared, you have to remember to square the number that you're using. Huge mistake that a lot of people make. So highlight that, underline it, whatever you need to do. Remember to square the number. We're going to get some practice with that right now. So we've got some examples here. My kilometers, hectometers, that whole concept still works the same. So I'm going to just write them down here so we have reference. We've got kilometers, hectometers, decameters, meters, decimeters, centimeters, and millimeters. So for this first one, I've got my centimeters squared. So I'm here, and I'm trying to go down to millimeters squared. So I've got my bigger unit, I'm going to my smaller units. This is what I'll multiply. So I'm going to have 5 times 10, because it's just one jump. 5 times 10. And I have to remember to square the number. Remember that right there. So I'm going to remember to square the number. So 5 times 10 squared is 100. We can also set up the ratio. I'll remind you of the ratio with our next example. All right. So let's see. There's a little typo here. So just get rid of that hectometer squared right there. Here we go. 83.6 meters squared to hectometers squared. So meters to hectometers. So meters is my smaller unit. I'm going to my bigger unit. So this is when I would divide. But this time I'm going to show you that ratio to remind you if you like the ratio method. So I've got 83.6, and that's meters squared. My ratio, meters goes on bottom because that's what I'm getting rid of. Hectometers goes on top because that's what I want. There are 10 100 meters in every hectometer. And then I have to remember to square the numbers. Do not forget to square the number. So this is 83.6 times this ratio. Or if you don't like to use the ratio method, it's 83.6 divided by 100 squared. If you would rather memorize the multiplication and the division. Doesn't matter to me. In either case, we get a really tiny number that I'm going to have to squeeze in here. 0.00836. Now let's try one with our English system. So we've got yards to going into inches. So yards is my bigger unit, and I'm trying to go into my smaller unit. So I'm going to be multiplying. So I've got 6.5, and I'm going to multiply that. And there are 36 inches in a yard. So I have to say times 36. And don't forget to square the number. So 6.5 times 36 squared is a really big number, 8,424. We have to be okay with both big and small numbers. With these squaring, we get really big answers and really small answers, and we have to be okay with that. So the answer was 8,424. All right, why don't you pause the video and give the next two a try real quick. All right, so let's see if you got your answers right. I'm at meters squared. I'm going to go to centimeters squared. So meters to centimeters. So I'm at my big unit, and I'm going to my small unit. So again, I'm going to be multiplying. I'll set this one up as a ratio, or you can set it up as you're multiplying if you want to. I'm getting rid of meters squared, and I want my answer to be centimeters squared. There are 10 100. There are 100 centimeters in every meter, and I'm going to go square my numbers. Now the 1 squared doesn't really matter because 1 squared is always 1. So this is 43 times this ratio, or 43 times 100 squared. That gives me 430,000 in here. Let me clean up some space so I can write that. So that gives me 430,000. For my last one, I'm going from millimeters to meters. So 10, 100, 1,000. There are 1,000 millimeters in a meter. Now I'm going from my small unit to my big unit, so I'm going to divide. So I'm going to have 10,000 divided by, we said there were 10, 100, 1,000. So I'm going to divide it by 1,000. Don't forget to square your number. 10,000 divided by 1,000 squared gives me 1/100th. Let me get my answer as 0.01.